There's an expression in Arabic, first we come for the Saturday people, then we come for the Sunday people. So first we will rid the land of the Jews, but don't worry, Christians, we're coming for you next. My name is Gad Saad, and this is my story. I am a professor, author, and evolutionary behavioral scientist. So I was born in Beirut, Lebanon in 1964. We were part of the last remaining dwindling community of Lebanese Jews. But in terms of my childhood growing up in Lebanon, it was a happy childhood, although several elements made it less than ideal. Certainly from a Jewish perspective, I experienced Jew hatred on countless occasions. For example, when I was almost 6 years old, Gamal Abdel Nasser, the president of Egypt, had just died. When he passed away, as often happens in the Middle East, people take to the streets to engage in all sorts of feverish lamentations and so on. And as people were proceeding down my street, one of the most conspicuous chants was, "Death to Jews, death to Jews." And this is as a 5-year-old boy, almost 6. That stunned me. Mom, why are they screaming death to Jews? What do we have to do with this? When I was about 9 or 10, we were in class and the teacher asked each of the kids to stand up and tell us what they wanted to become when they grew up. I want to be a doctor. I want to be a soccer player. I want to be a police officer. A kid stands up and says, when I grow up, I want to be a Jew killer, to raucous laughter and applause. When I was 10, the Civil War broke out in Lebanon in 1975, where it really became impossible to be Jewish. Death awaited you every second of every day during the Lebanese Civil War. There were snipers everywhere. Well, when I would want to go out and play, because I'm a kid, my parents would say, don't cross this particular line because that would open you up to the eyesight, the scope of certain snipers. It felt like bombs were dropping every day. We learned how to either run and duck or not, depending on the whistle signature of the way the bombs were dropping. So it just became untenable. We found out, for example, that there was a Jewish family a couple of houses down that had been shot and executed. So your turn was going to come. We didn't need to experience more than the first year of the Civil War to say, it doesn't look like our future is here anymore. We had to hire militia to get us to the airport. As we were going through different neighborhoods in Beirut, you're now going across militia areas. There's fire that's coming on the car. There's artillery everywhere. There's snipers everywhere. So it's really a Rambo movie. And so we were being squashed down at the bottom of the car with our luggage to try to protect us. We got on the plane, and then the pilot says that we've now cleared the Lebanese airspace. And so my mother takes out the Star of David. She puts the Star of David around my neck and she says, now you can wear this, not hide your identity, and be proud of who you are. I remember that probably within 2 months of having arrived in Montreal, it's very, very gloomy. And there is this white stuff falling from the sky. And I'm like, this place sucks. It's so dark and cold. And then I remember thinking, well, it's a lot better to have snowflakes falling on me than bombs and snipers. So Lebanon was a Christian majority country. Today, Lebanon is a majority Muslim country. There's an expression in Arabic, first we come for the Saturday people, then we come for the Sunday people. The Saturday people are the Jews. So first we will rid the land of the Jews. But don't worry, Christians, we're coming for you next, right? And so once Islam comes in, it's very, very hard to stop it. Of course, there are millions of Muslims who are peace-loving. There's good and bad in every religion, but we're talking about an ideology. So now all of the super smart politicians that are scratching their heads and are saying, where's the Jew hatred coming from? If you allow entry into your country of hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people that say have endemic Jew hatred as a definitional trait of their societies. Now, how do I know that it's endemic? Well, I lived it. But other than that, we have this thing called data that allows us to know if what I'm saying is true. So take, for example, Pew surveys. They've done surveys of responses to Jews in Islamic countries. Of the polled people, 95 to 99% are exhibiting Jew hatred. So now, does it take a super fancy professor to guess that if you allow hundreds of thousands of such folks to come in, what will happen to Jew hatred in that host society? Will it go up? Will it stay the same? Or will it go down? Who knows? It's impossible. It's a mystery. Well, is it really? I'm a professor at the John Molson School of Business, which is part of Concordia University. In 2024 to 2025, though, I'll be serving as a visiting professor and global ambassador at Northwood University. And so I study the biological and evolutionary underpinnings of what makes us the consumers that we are. The full victimhood that you hear happening in the West, I can't take seriously because people who've really had victimhood stories know that this is nonsense. Being misgendered at Wellesley College is probably not something that you should be crying for more than a second about, given what other people have gone through. So for example, Ayaan Hirsi Ali has the right to tell a story of victimhood. The fact that you come from a line of indigenous people that in 1739 had a treaty that the French government violated doesn't give you the right to whine. I think some of the staunchest defenders of the Western tradition are immigrants, because the person who's born in Huntington Beach and who's only surfed and his biggest worry is where to get my next burrito doesn't understand that that's not the default way in which reality exists. Much of societies throughout history have been littered with autocracy and pain and rivers of blood and persecution and subjugation. And so it takes usually the immigrant who has sampled from the larger buffet of societies to come to the United States and say, wow, what a miracle you guys have. And boy, be careful. You don't want to lose it. To all Americans who might be watching this, heed my warning. Never take for granted your liberties. It's not built into the mechanism as a default value. It's something that you have to always be vigilant in defending. Ronald Reagan said, freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. And so it is important for Americans to think that you can blink your eyes and your society can change. So always be vigilant. Don't think it's a default value to live in this beautiful paradise that you take for granted. Thank you for watching this video. If you'd like PragerU videos to remain free, please consider making a tax-deductible donation.